Good morning, everyone. And today we'll continue with our second lesson, which is about selection tools inside Photoshop. We will learn how to select some objects, some parts of from an image, or how to select a whole image, and how the selection tools actually work. What kind of selection tools we do have, and how do they work inside Photoshop. So that's what we are going to do in this lesson. So first, what I need is that an image. So I have a couple of recently opened images. And now what I will do is that I will open two images. First of all, I want to open this image, ph.jpg. As soon as I will click it, it will just open it up. And I also want this image to be open too. So first I will click on this one. And then just notice the name of this image is family.jpg. So if I will click on this image, it will right away open it. And now I don't have that window any longer like more like displayed over here. So what I need to do is that I will just go to the file, and then here I have the same thing, open recent, but I cannot see the thumbnails of the images, only the names. So I already know what is the name of the second image, and the name of the second image was family.jpg. So if I will click it, it will open that image too. So I have now two images, one on this first tab and another on this second tab. So if I will go to this tab, so I will start with this. Now here you will notice that this image is basically a JPG image. That means it's not a Photoshop file, and everything here in the layer is of one all merged together as it is a JPG. Whenever you open a JPG, it is a flat image without any sort of layers. You will have a background layer, which is the image itself, and that image is basically locked. So this means if I will try to open it, I cannot, like if I want to move it, I cannot move it. With the moving tool, it will not allow me to move. It will give me an error here, which will say the currently selected layer is background layer. You cannot move a background layer or change its stacking order, blend modes, or opacity. These are the things that I cannot do with the background layer. I cannot move it, or I cannot change its stacking order, like I cannot move it up or down or change its order in the layer. Right now it's only one layer, so it doesn't matter if I move it up or down because nothing will change as it is only one layer. Plus, I cannot change the blending mode from here. I cannot change opacity. So in order to do that, it will give me an option here to convert this layer to a normal layer. So, however, you can convert it to a normal layer and then change any of these attributes. So if I want, I can cancel if I don't want this. But if I want to do these kind of changes, I just have to simply click on convert to layer option. As soon as I will click on convert to normal layer option, it will convert into a normal layer. And wherever I moved it, it will move that layer to that position. So, but I don't want it to be here. I just wanted to move it back there. Also, I can press Control Z to undo whatever I did, and it will convert back to the background normal layer. Another way to convert this into a normal layer, I can simply click on this lock button. As soon as I will click on this lock button, it will be unlocked. So this is how you can actually do that. So I hope now you have understood how a JPG is made and how JPG actually work. Now let's go ahead and start with the selection tool. Now the first tool over here is basically a moving tool which allow us to move our object like this, or any layer that we have it here. Okay, now I have noticed that some of the students are writing their name uh, inside the Blackboard. So instead of writing your names and ID in the Blackboard, you have to write your name and IDs inside the YouTube live stream. Okay, so let's continue. Here I have the move tool. And inside the move tool, if you will notice, there are two more other tools, artboard and move tool. So to move, we will use the move tool, but to change the artboard, because artboard is the area where you work on, you can go to the artboard, but we don't want to change the artboard. Now, next, these are the few things that we will be learning in this course. The first three options here, which are related to selection. And there is a dedicated select menu on the top, which is all about the selection. Now, if we go to the dedicated select menu here, we have the first option here called all. All shortcut is Control A on your keyboard. So if you press all over here or press Control A on your keyboard, it will select the whole layer, the layer that you have selected from here. So if I press here, select and all, you will see the marquee is all around this. And if I go back here and select, I have another option now available, which is known as deselect. Deselect means whatever is selected, it will be deselected. Means it will be not selected anymore. So what I need to only do is that just press Control D on your keyboard, D for deselect, and you will see that that marquee is gone and everything is deselected. To select again everything, Control A, it will produce another marquee here, which shows that everything is selected. And Control D, it will remove that marquee. That means nothing is selected. Now, apart from that, we have now another option which is available, which is reselect. Sometimes what happens, you do a selection and by mistake you deselect it with either Control D or by pressing anywhere in the gray area. So that selection will be gone. But if you want that selection to reappear again, so you can press Shift Control D or reselect it. And you can see that that marquee is back here. Selecting everything with the all, okay, is very simple. So you can again press select all, so it will you will get the whole selection back. Reselect is basically ideal for those kind of selection which are a little bit complex, that you create through different sort of selection tools here. So then it will be ideal for you to do that. Now we will keep it as it is right now for these first three, and then we will go to the inverse and all the others one by one later on. And before going through all the others, I want to explain all these other tools from this side. Okay, so let's deselect this and let's go to the first selection option. A good thing in Adobe Photoshop is that the newer versions, right now, the version that I'm using is Adobe Photoshop 2021 version. So this is the latest version right now. And you can see that the version here is 22.0.0 release. It's a 2021, the first version of 2021. So it have a lot of great tools in itself. So it gives you a lot of different new good options. Now, first, if you will keep it pressed, you will get all these four different kind of marquee selection tools. So this is basically the first selection is the marquee based selection. Marquee is what? Selection based on a different sort of, you can say, shapes. The first is rectangle marquee tool. Then the next one is elliptical marquee tool, then single row marquee tool, then single column marquee tool. Now, what is the rectangle marquee tool? Rectangle marquee tool is basically allow you to create a rectangular selection. If I will select this one, I can select anything just like this. And if I want to copy this, simply Control C, Control V, or I can go to Edit, Copy, and if I want to paste it, Edit and Paste. As soon I will paste it, it will not paste on the same layer. It will create a new layer and it will paste it in that new layer. So if I will go and press the paste, it will paste it in a new layer. You can see that now I have one layer, which is the background. If I hide this one, you can see it is a background. And another layer I have here on the top. Now with the moving tool, I can move it anywhere I want. So basically, this is how you can move the moving tool there. So this is one way of copy pasting through that marquee tool. Now I will delete this layer one. Now, what if I want to bring that selection back, the one that I selected? Simple, select, reselect. And this is, it will bring back that like selection, which we did it before. Now, one more thing I can do here is that instead of copying, I can go to edit and I can also cut. Now, when I will do the cut, it will cut that part and it can paste it wherever you want. So if I will go to edit, paste, it will paste it in a new layer. And here it is, and I can put it anywhere I want. But you have noticed that when, let me press Control Z to undo, go back here. Now if I will go to cut, and if you notice, when I paste it, it wasn't pasted in the same location, it was pasted somewhere else. But if you want to paste it in the same location, you just have to go to edit and you have to go to paste special and then you have to press paste in place. What it will do is that it will paste it in the same location from where you cut it. So if I will press paste in place, it will be pasted in the same location and you can move it if you want. Let me undo that. So this is how you can cut, copy, paste. Next marquee tool is elliptical marquee tool. You select this elliptical marquee tool, you can make a circular elliptical selection. And same way, you can go to edit, cut or copy, and it will do the cut, copy, paste thing. Edit, paste special, paste in place, and it is there. Now, if I will hide the bottom one, you can see that it has pasted the way I cut it. Okay, so let me undo this as well. And it still is selected, so Control D to deselect it. So Control D is the shortcut for deselecting anything. Now, once this is done, the next we have here is the single row. Now, what I do is that if I select the single row, I can select a single row over here, a thin single row. So if I zoom in a bit, so you can see it more clearly. Suppose if I go in this part, I can now select this row of pixels. Now, what I can do here is that I can go to edit, cut, and you can see that it has been cutted from here. And then I can go to edit, paste special, paste in place or normal paste, whatever you want, and paste it there. If I hide this bottom layer, you can see that it's a single row of pixels. So sometimes it is useful. So let me undo that. But I don't use it a lot of time. But sometimes like there is some issue or like some areas where it will be helpful for you. Next thing is the same thing, but in a column, like vertical. I will select this. I can select any part like up here. And then I can edit, cut. You can see it has been cut it here. I can go edit and then paste in special the place. Let me hide this layer and you can see single vertical column. Let me undo. So this is how you can make these sort of selection. Now let's go back to the rectangular selection. So as I told you before, as I showed you before, I can make any rectangular selection here. Now rectangle is basically is a shape where two sides are same size and two other sides, opposite sides, are same. So here my height is different on both sides. They are same, but they are different than the width. So width is different, height is different. What if I want square? Because square, your height and width are both same. To do that, I have to press Shift key on my keyboard and then draw. So when I will draw a marquee, a selection with the help of Shift key, it will create a sort of a square, because as you know, the square have same width and it have same height. So same width, same height. But to draw any sort of square with the help of marquee tool, you have to press Shift key on the keyboard and then you can draw easily. Press, I will do deselect, I have Control D to deselect it, and I will show the same thing you can do with the elliptical marquee tool. In elliptical marquee tool, if you will notice, when I create, it's ellipse, means it's oval. It's not clear circle, because circle is uniform and it's a perfect 100% circle with a clear diameter. Here, it's more like elongated, or you can say squished. So it's an oval. So let me deselect it, Control D. And if I will press Shift key on my keyboard and then draw with the elliptical tool, you will see that it is drawing a perfect circle with a clear diameter. Once you draw a marquee, with the same marquee tool, you can move it wherever you want. Sometimes what happens, let's be Control D. If I draw a marquee tool here with the Shift key to make a circle, maybe I didn't want this selection to be here. I want it to be here. So simply I can just select this, move it wherever I want. But make sure when you are moving your marquee tool, the select marquee selection, you have to be in the marquee selection option. Why? Because by mistake, if you're in the moving tool option, like suppose I'm now I'm not in the marquee selection option, I'm in the moving selection option. Now, if I will try to move my marquee selection, what it will do is that it will not move my marquee selection, but instead it will move the entire part which is selected, like this part. So if I will click on it, and you can see the cursor, just notice the cursor now show a black arrow with a scissor. If I will move now, you will notice that it is not moving the marquee selection. It is moving that part which was selected. So you have to be careful. So I will undo this. I can go back to the marquee. Another way of deselecting, the first method I told you is like either go to select, deselect from here, or press Control D on your keyboard. Another method to deselect is by clicking anywhere outside here with the marquee tool selected. If I click anywhere here, automatically it will deselect. Okay? And anywhere outside your document window, you can click with the marquee option selected and it will deselect. So these are different ways of deselecting. So be careful. Make sure if you want to move it, your marquee selection, you have to be in the marquee option. Otherwise, if you're in the move tool option or any other option, the result will be unexpected or the result will be a little different. Maybe it's not the result that you're looking for. Now, one more thing we have here is the multiple marquee tool. Now, suppose if I have created a marquee here, a rectangular marquee tool. Now I have to select, I have to keep my selection, but I want to add another selection to it. So suppose if I want to make a selection from here to here, another one to add it here. If I'll try to do that, I cannot do it because if I click here and start dragging, it will assume that I'm trying to move it rather than adding a selection to it. Okay, so that is not right. Okay, because I want to create a selection and I cannot because it is assuming that I'm trying to move it. Because obviously, to move, I have to click and move it just like that. So maybe if I will try to make a selection not from here, maybe from here, but what will happen? The previous selection will be gone. So how I can add multiple selections? To add multiple selections, you have these options on the top. Right now, I have new selection on or like selected. New selection means wherever I will go, it and drag and draw, it will draw always a new selection. But what if I want to draw a like an additional selection? So there is an option here, additional, add to selection. If I click on add to selection and now start drawing anything, now you can see it's not moving. It is adding a new selection to it. So I can add as many marquee tool with it. Also, I can go to my elliptical tool, okay, and turn on the add to selection for the elliptical tool also. And I can add elliptical tool selection to it as well. But before doing that, you have to make sure you have clicked on it. I have added. Now I can go back to normal, to elliptical tool. Now I have to go back to my rectangular tool from here, or from here you can also choose, but here it's not showing, so I have to choose from here. Now what I will do here is that I will go back to my rectangular selection tool, add more to it, towards it, and keep on adding. So this is adding. What if I have added something which I don't really like? I don't like this part, maybe. I want to remove this part or completely change this part. So that means I want to remove the selection, not add the selection. Right now, I'm in the add selection option. Just notice my cursor over here. The cursor show plus small plus icon underneath. That means if I will keep on drawing, it will keep on adding the selection to it. So in this case, what I will do is that I will just simply go to the second option, which is subtract from selection. So I can go to subtract from selection, and then whatever I will do here will subtract. Now, just look at my cursor here. It have minus icon. Suppose I don't want this part. So what I can do, I can simply draw over this part with the rectangular selection tool, and it will subtract that part. Now it's not there anymore. Simply from here also, if I draw something like this, it will remove that part, maybe from here also. Okay, so these kind of things you can easily do with the help of subtraction. Now, maybe I want to subtract it, but not with the rectangle, but maybe with the elliptical. So I can go to the elliptical, and then I want to subtract it. So I will choose subtraction, and I can make an elliptical selection here. And as soon as I will release my mouse, it will subtract with that. So this is subtraction here. I can go back to the normal selection here, go back to my rectangular. If I want to go back to normal, you can, but I want to do some more other stuff, so I will keep it as it is. I can also go to single row. I can also choose a subtraction in the single row, and I can make a single row here, and you can see that it has subtracted single row as many I can. And you can see that how it is affecting. Okay, so subtract, subtracted, subtract. Other than that, let's go back to normal to the single row and then move to the rectangular tool over here. Now, suppose I don't want this subtraction. The next option I want, which is intersect. What does the intersect do? Intersect only keep that item on the screen which is intersecting. Intersecting means which is common. If I will select here, take this part, this marquee tool, and draw something over my selection. Now just see, I made a box over here. I'm making a box. Now, whatever is inside the box is overlapping, is intersecting. So, whatever is inside the box will remain, and whatever is outside the box, outside the marquee, will be gone. So, if I will release my mouse here, you will notice that whatever was outside, because outside was not common, it was not intersecting, is now gone, but whatever is inside is overlapping and intersecting will remain. So this is how you can use this intersecting option. So different ways to do that. Now I'm done. I can go back to my normal selection, new selection option. Now what I can do here is that, let's see, if I want to delete this part from this layer, I just have to press my delete button and it will delete that part. So if I want to deselect, I can press anywhere outside or Control D on my keyboard. Two options I have to deselect. And you can see this is how a shape will be deleted. Now let's do one thing. Let's undo what we did. And now let's do a different sort of the deletion over here. What if I don't want to delete what is selected? I want to delete whatever is not selected. Means like this part is selected, but this part is not selected. So I want to delete this part, which is not selected right now. Okay. So what I need to do is that my selection is here and I want to inverse this selection, means to turn this selection into opposite. To turn this selection into opposite, I have to go to the select option here on the top. And then you will see the fourth option, which I told you before that we will go to this option later on, is now active. Inverse means to turn your selection into opposite. Now, if I will press inverse here, you will see that a bigger marquee is on the edges, on the corners, on the borders. Why? Because now it is selecting this part, not this part. Okay. So if I will, let me show you an example. What part it is selecting right now? Let me drop a color here so that you can get the idea. This part. Whatever part is colored is the part which is selected at the moment. Okay. So now if I will press delete on my keyboard, it will delete that outside part, not this part. Okay. So now I can simply press Control D or click anywhere outside with the marquee tool selected. Okay, and then you can see that, and then I can move it wherever I want. Okay, so this is a way of selecting these with different kind of tools. Now, as I told you before, you can use these for addition, deletion, like for like adding your selection, delete, like removing from your selection, or intersecting to your selection. Next thing that you can also do here is same thing, but using your keyboard shortcuts instead of using these. So let me deselect by pressing Control D here. Now, just notice I'm using the same marquee tool, the single selection, the normal one. So I can do that here. But if I want to use this option, instead of going here, I can use a shortcut on the keyboard, that is Shift on my keyboard. If I will press Shift on my keyboard, you can see now my cursor shows a plus icon. That means if I will draw anything here, it will keep on adding it. And notice this is activated now. As soon as I will release my Shift key from the keyboard, it will go back to normal. Same thing with the Alt. If I will press Alt key on my keyboard, just notice it will jump to this. And my cursor is showing minus. That means it is now in the subtraction, and I am doing subtraction here. As soon as I will release this, it will go back to normal. Simple, just simple as that. Okay. So this is how you can actually work with this like selection. Okay. So now if I want to do overlapping on my keyboard from my keyboard shortcut, so I have to press Shift and Alt. Shift Alt both keys at the same time. When I will press Shift and Alt both at the same time, you can see on my cursor it shows X. That means intersection, and the intersection is on now. So if I will do an intersection here, you can see that the intersecting part is there, other part is gone. As soon as I will release my Shift and Alt key from my keyboard, you can notice that I'm back to my original state here. So this is how you can create different sort of selection with the help of keyboard shortcut. I prefer students to use the keyboard shortcut because it is more faster, and it allow you to do smaller things in a much more faster way. Okay, so this is how you can do that. Any questions so far? Is everything clear, everyone? Any question anyone who have or need clearance? Okay, so if no questions, so let's move ahead. Now here in the selection, we have here layers selection, but layer selection, we will not work at this spot because we have not gone through the layers so far. So once we will move to the layers part, we will do the layers selection from here. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's make a layer over here. For example, I will create a new layer here, so I can have like a layer here, like an empty layer. And this layer is empty, so what I can do is that I can take my brush and make it a little bigger from here, the size of it, draw something here. Okay, make another layer, and it's too smooth my drawing, so I will turn on, and I will go to the brush, turn the hardness 100%, choose a different color from here, draw something. So I have 3 layers now, 0, 1. Now let's do some selection here in the layers option. Now, if you will see, there are 3 different layers. If I will go to select and press all layers, you can see that all layers are selected. The shortcut for selecting all the layers is Alt Control A. So when all the layers are selected, I can take my moving tool, and if I will move, all the layers will move together. Control Z to undo. If not all the layers are selected, if any one of the layers is selected, suppose this layer number 1, and if I go to the move tool and start moving, you can see that selected layer is moving. Not all the layers are moving. Okay, but if I will press Alt Control, okay, A, which is all layers, Alt Control A, will select all the layers, and if I will move, all of them are moved. Okay. The next here is deselect layers. So it will do the same thing that it do with the deselect. If I press deselect, whatever is selected is now deselected. It's not selected anymore. So I cannot do anything here because it is deselected. Now, next option here is find layer. So if I will press find layers, it will ask if what kind of layer you want to find. But now I don't have, right now I don't have names for the layers. To rename the layers, you can just simply double click it. Okay. Like suppose this one is background. So I will double click it, rename it to BG. This is maybe, I can call it circle. Not a circle, but I'll just call it circle. This one is, maybe I will call it cross. So I have different layer names, BG, circle, cross. Okay. Now I want to find a layer, okay, with the name. So simply find layers and it will pop up this option. I can type whatever I'm looking for. Maybe I'm looking for background. I will type BG. As soon as I will type BG, all the other layers will be gone and it will only show me the layer that I'm looking for. For example, I'm looking for cross. So I will type it cross and all the cross layers it will show me. So this is actually helpful if you have thousands of layers. So you can rename your layers red, red circle, red square, blue circle, blue square. So if you will type here blue, everything that is related to blue color will be available here. So if you are naming your layers very nice, in a very nice manner, in a good, with a good naming convention, it will become easier for you to select whatever you are looking for. Okay, so that's for that part. Now isolate layer. Whatever layer is selected, suppose this layer is selected, which is circle. I only want to see this layer and I don't want other layers to be active. So what I can do here is that I can just simply go into select option and press isolate layers. As soon as I will press isolate layers, it will only show me that layer and all the other layers are now gone. So I can only work on this layer. Okay, so I can go back, uncheck the isolate, it will bring it back. Now isolate layer can work on more than two different layers. To select more than two layers, you just have to press Control on your keyboard and select whatever layers you want. Like suppose I want to select cross and BG. So I can first select either cross or BG. Then I have to press Control on my keyboard and then I have to select the second layer. Suppose I want to select now cross. So I can go to the cross, click on the cross. Now BG is also selected, cross is also selected. So both of them are selected. So this is how you can select multiple layers with the help of Control. And also you can press Shift key, but with the Shift key you can select in a column. Like suppose if I press cross and if I want to select BG, so if I will press BG, anything between cross and BG will be selected. Okay, so the whole thing between your selection will be selected. So circle is also selected. But if you don't want to select the circle, if you want to select uh, the specific ones, then you have to press Control and select the ones that you want, like this and this. And once you are done, leave your Control key. So this is how it actually works with the control. Now, once this is done, simply you can go to select option. Okay. And then if you press isolate, whatever layers are selected, notice cross and BG are selected. They both will be isolated. Now, either you can go back here in the isolate option or just press this like orange button and you will go back to normal. So this is how these selection works. All deselect, reselect, inverse. All layers, deselect layers, find layers, isolate layers. These we will do in just in few minutes. Okay, but before working on this, I want you all to focus on the other selection options, which is lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, magnetic lasso. To work on these, I will move to another image because we have been working on this image. It will become quite boring if we will stick to this image. Let's move to a new image. Now, you know that to select with the shapes, you can choose these marquee tools, but you will be only able to select in a shape form. But what if you want to create your own shape? Then you use these tools. The first tool is the lasso tool, which is a freehand drawing tool. Suppose I want to select eye of this lady. So I can select this lasso tool, I can zoom in and I can draw just over her eye like this. But you have to make sure your hand is steady. If your hand is shaking, you will not be able to do a good selection. And once you are done, you will see that her eye is selected. Now what I can do here is that I can uh, do anything here. I can copy this eye, okay, cut this eye or whatever I want. I can copy it, I can paste it. It will be when you do the copy paste, it will be pasted in the same location. But when you do the like cut and paste, then the paste is on it at a different location. So if I will move, you can see that it is the eye is here. Okay. Suppose I like this eye and I want this eye to go to this eye as well. So they both are balanced, but you will notice that it need to be flipped. So if to flip it, you have an option here and edit, transform. Either you can flip it horizontally or you can flip it vertically. But I want to flip it horizontally. So I will click on flip horizontal. It will be flipped like this and I can place it somewhere. So both eyes are uniform. Okay. Same as on the both sides. So before and after you can see. Okay. So this is one way of doing it. Like a selection, like a like selection with the lasso tool. Let me delete this eye. Now, sometimes what happens, as I told you, lasso tool, your hands should be very steady. It should not move. If your hand are shaking and you don't have a good drawing movement with the hand, then you will not be able to use the lasso tool. To avoid that, you can use another tool, which is polygonal lasso tool. How the polygonal lasso tool works. Let's see first the lasso. Let me give you an idea. Lasso tool, you can draw the way like with your hands, okay? But it's a freehand drawing. Let me deselect it. Okay, Control D. On the other hand, polygonal lasso tools works with the line drawing. If I click here, then I will be able to click it anywhere else. And I will keep on clicking and it will keep on producing lines. And if I want to close this line, I have to go back to the line which I started, like here. As soon as I will go here, you can see the cursor shows a small circle. That means if I click here, it will close the line. So this is like this is the way you can use your uh, like polygonal tool option. So Control D to deselect, and it's always better if you want to select something very small, so you zoom in, so you can get a good result. So now I can click from start from here, keep on clicking. In this way, my hand, even if it will shake, it will not produce a bad result. Okay, so this is, I will keep on clicking because it is producing small lines. So I can keep on doing that and go back to where I started, and it has selected the whole thing. I can go to cut, and if I were to paste, it will paste it, but in a different location. Then I can take a moving tool. The shortcut for the moving tool is V on your keyboard, V for victory. If I will press V, I will go in the moving tool and I can place it wherever I want. So let me undo this, Control T to select. This is basically the polygonal lasso. Now, magnetic lasso tool is quite interesting. Now, how the magnetic lasso tool work? Magnetic lasso tool, if I was selected, it's actually worked with the edge pixels. Now here, I don't have an edge. So in this area, this magnetic lasso tool will not work. But where I have edge, you can see that there is a clear different edge. This is darker area. This is brighter area. So edge here is making a good separation. Here is lighter area, darker area. Here there is an edge. This edge is producing a good difference. Here it is even much more better. Here it will work more better. Why? Because this is completely black. This is completely white. Not 100%, but there is a clear difference. Here, the polygonal magnetic lasso tool will work. For example, I want to select this part. If I will click here, now I don't have to click anywhere else. I just have to move my mouse. I'm not clicking, I'm just moving the mouse. Automatically, depending on the separation of the edge, it is sticking to that separation. Now I can move to the other part and it is sticking to this edge. Now, if I will move again, it will start sticking to this edge. If I will move here, now it will be confused because there is no edge. Okay, but if I will move to this part, it will have a good edge. So I have not pressed anywhere. I just move my mouse. And if I will go back to where I started from, I can just click and you can see that whole thing is being selected automatically. Okay, so this is a nice way of selecting with the polygonal lasso tool. One thing with the polygonal lasso tool you can do is that, suppose I want to select her mouth, so I can, and there is a clear edge here, so it will work nicer. As soon as I will click it, the old one will be gone because I'm in a single mode or like single selection mode. I'm not in any one of these. So if you start a new selection with the new with the new selection option, the old one is gone. But if you are in the additional, so it will keep on adding. So I'm not here, I'm here. So it will start with a new selection and you can see the old selection is gone. Now I'm moving, it's going fine. Her mouth, her lips shape is curved smooth over here, so it's going fine. But as soon as I reach at this spot, this area is a corner. Corner means a sharp corner or a sharp area. Here, if I will move my mouse, so you can see that it is not creating a good part over here. Okay, which actually I don't want. I want this part to be sharp, just like it's in the image. Now, discontinued, I don't want to discontinue, undo, and redo again. So to go back to this step, I just have to press backspace on my keyboard and keep on doing that. And it will keep on going back. Okay. So I will reach here, then I will stop pressing the backspace. Now it will rewind your selection process. Okay. That's the good thing about the magnetic lasso tool. Now I will go back here. To make something more sharper, I just have to click my mouse. Usually we don't click, but for sharper corners, you just click. And when you click, it will create a sharp corner here and then you can continue. Okay, so wherever you feel you need a sharp corner or wherever you see there are artifacts, like here you can see that there is an artifact here, you can just press your mouse button and then continue. So what I will do here, I will just press here. So there is no artifact. Then I'll continue. And here I think there is an artifact creating. So I will just press. So wherever you feel there is an artifact or where you need a sharp corner, like here I need a sharp corner, I can press and I can continue. Okay. And here I think I need a click because there is an artifact here. And then I can continue. So click wherever you feel there is artifact and wherever you feel you need a corner. So that's how nicely you can produce things, or like create things. Okay, so I have selected her mouth easily with the help of magnetic lasso. So just like your marquee tool, these tools also have um, addition, subtraction, and intersection. And with the help of the keyboard, also you can use that. Like suppose if I press Shift, I will be here in the addition, and I can add to my selection whatever I want. And Alt, I can remove any selection, and Shift Alt, I can make an intersection. Okay, simply just like that. Control T to deselect everything. So basically, this is how you can use these lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, magnetic lasso tool. Okay, so this is how you can work with it. Now, one thing you can do, let's go back to this part, or let's stick it here. If I want to select anything, either with the lasso tool or polygonal lasso tool or magnetic lasso tool or any marquee tool, I can copy paste with a solid edge. What do I mean by that? Suppose if I will select her face from here, go to cut, paste, and move around, you can see the edge over here. Let me hide the background layer here. You can see the edge over here is solid. Okay, sharp. Same thing. Let me undo this. Control D to deselect. Same thing if I will do with the help of lasso tool and just select her face from the lasso tool. Okay, I'm doing a little faster. Maybe my hand will shake. Okay, and then if I will go to cut, paste, hide this, and you can notice that the edges, the corner, the border here are sharp. Now, what if you don't want it to be sharp? What if you want it to be smoother, feathered, blending with the background? So there is an option here called feather, if you will see here. Okay. So how to turn this feather on and how it works. Right now the feather is 0. That means the corners, the borders will be 100% sharp. Let's do undo here. And let's undo this one too. Let's go to the feather. And instead of 0, let's turn this feather to 50. 50 is a lot higher. Like 50% is a higher value. And then if I go to select and reselect, okay, so this selection will be with the feather of how much? 50%. If I will go cut, oops, sorry. Let's do one thing. Let's do a because the reselection is for this tool, not for this tool. Let's, instead of reselecting, let's do the selection manually again. So I will select this surface quickly here. And notice that there is a 50% feather. Now, as soon as I will select, you will notice that the selection is not the way I drew. It's basically more smoother. And this time, if I will go to edit and press the cut option, notice what happens. You will notice that whatever is cut is not smooth, like sharper, it's smooth. So now if I will go to edit and paste, so whatever is pasted is also not, it does not have a sharp borders, it have a smooth border, feathered border, blending border. Let me hide the background so you can clearly see. So just see the border. It is like blending, it is feathered. So if I will move this image to anywhere else, you can see there is a ghostly border around. And if I move it around, you can see that easily it is blending with the background because there is a feather, there is a blurriness with it. There is a diffusion in it. Okay. So it is more easier to to blend with the help of the feather option. So let me undo it, the whole process. And instead of using this image, let's move to this image and hide these two. Let's go to background. I will take my polygon, like this lasso tool. Instead of uh, 50 this time, I will choose 10. 50 is too high. I will choose 10. And instead of lasso tool, I will choose polygon lasso tool. Okay, let's do one thing. Lasso tool, turn the lasso tool back to 0. I don't want it to be 10 or 100 or whatever. I will take my polygonal lasso tool and turn the polygonal lasso tool to 10. Now when I'm done with that, I can select any building here, suppose this building, and I will. Okay, one more thing. You will notice that the image is too big and I cannot see the whole building. So in this case, if you are selecting in a larger scale, to move around, you can press spacebar on your keyboard while you're doing your selection process. So you can move anywhere with the help of spacebar. And when you are done, you leave your spacebar and you will be back to your selection mode. So in between, you can press spacebar anytime. So what it will do, it will move you to the panning option. And what is the panning option? This hand, the hand over here. So it's a shortcut. And you can move anywhere you want. And when you will leave your spacebar, you will release your spacebar, you will be back to your option that you were using, whether it is a selection option or whatever you were using. So in between, you can press spacebar anytime, whether you're selecting or doing or performing any other thing. Okay, so spacebar, I can move up and then that, and done. You will notice because the feather is 10, you can notice the borders are smoother. It's a bit curved. So if I will go edit, cut, you can see that the way it has been like cut. It's basically with a feathered blending border. So if I will go to the edit paste and move it around, so you can see that wherever I go, it blends. Okay, there is no sharp corner here. Okay, so if I will hide the background here, you can notice that. Let me make another layer and put a color in that layer so you can clearly see. Let me put a white color here in this new layer and go back to this. You can see that the border here are basically feathered, blending. So this is a ghostly painted border. With the help of feather, you will get it. But you have to make sure when you are done and you don't want the feather, you have to go back to that option of that selection tool. Like suppose I was using this, I can go back to feather and change it back to 0. Otherwise it will remain. And maybe next time, if you don't want it, you will be still using it. So make sure all the time when you don't want it, make sure you turn it back to 0. Otherwise you will be still in that option here. Now let me undo this whole thing. Whatever I did, so I can back here to the normal. So I hope the feather is now clear. So now your lasso tool is clear, your polygonal lasso tool is clear, your magnetic lasso tool, all the marquee tools are clear, and also your feather is clear. So let's move to next option in the select menu. Here we have, let's go to here. Okay. Now if I will go to the select option here, the next option I have color range. Now what is the color range? Color range will do the selection based on the color of your choice. For example, I want to select green color, and most of the green color you will see is in the background. If I will go to the select color range, it will give me this window. Now here, if I move my mouse over my image, you will see there is a color picker option. Now what it will do is that it will allow me to pick up any color from here. For example, green color. Here it is the green, lighter, brighter green. Here is the darker green. So it's always better to select a brighter color. So if I want green, so I will try to pick up any green which is brighter. So this green is more brighter, so I will select this green. When I will do that, you will notice that is selected here. Okay, and it is showing a tiny version of it. So you can see smaller. If I will increase this fuzziness, it will start bringing it up. You can see that more and more green is appearing. So as much I want, I can increase it. But now you can see the faces are also appearing. I don't want the faces to be selected. So I will just reduce it till I will get the faces off the screen. Now I don't see any faces, only the background. Okay. Now, once I have done, I have this localized color cluster option. If I turn this on, it will allow me to detect faces. What it will do is that any faces that you want to select or not select, it can be in the in this option. So if I will select this detect faces, you can see that it is now detecting the faces as well. So if I will reduce this fuzziness, you can notice that it is working on the faces as well. But I don't want that, so I will deselect all these options. I just want it simply just like that. Okay. And if I want more color, I can press this plus button and pick up some more color. Like I want something like this kind of green also. So I can pick this green also, so it can become the part of it. But you can see that the image is now selecting more area. So maybe I have to reduce it. Okay. Now if I reduce it a little bit more, that's fine. And if I will press OK, now you can see it has selected the background here. Now I can simply go to edit, cut or copy or whatever I want. I can cut it. You can see that it has been cut. Okay, now let's turn this back on. This is a background color, this is a foreground color. So if you go to edit and cut, it actually show this background. So this background is white, so it is showing the white color here. Now I will go to edit, paste, and you can see that here is it. Okay, I can hide it, move it, or anything I want, or move it back where I want it. And then maybe I can make it darker or lighter. So that also I can do with this, with the help of this. Okay, so darker, more contrasted. So many different things I can do with it. So this is how you can select with the range of the color. Let me undo this. So sometimes it is useful if you want to select a particular color in your scene. Now, other option here is the focus area. Now, in this image, whatever is the focus area, like the family itself is the focus area. So it will try to select family, not the background. So if I will go to the focus area, and you can see that it is doing some sort of its like calculation, and you can see that it has removed the background only and kept the family. Now here the focus range is 4 and it is on auto. So what I can do here is that if I will reduce it maybe to something like this, so you can see that the focus area is reduced. If I will increase it, so you can see the focus area is now increasing. Okay, so you can make your own focus area just the way you want it. You can reduce, increase, decrease, and it will produce that. Okay, so it depends from image to image. Okay, and if you don't want this to be Like if you want more like option here, you can go to advanced and then you can also play with the noise. So it can help you more, even more. So I can increase the focus range and I can decrease noise. So I can have some good selection here. Okay. Suppose I like this, but I want the edges to be soft. I can press the soft edge, soften edge, just like the feather. So the edge will be softer. And suppose I don't want any part here, so I can just draw there, there. Okay, if I want any part, I can draw with the plus. If I don't want any part, I can draw with the minus. So let me do that and press this minus selection. And if whatever I don't want, like suppose I don't want this, I can simply remove from here. Okay. And if it is too big, my brush, the brush size, if it is too big, you can press left square bracket on your keyboard and right square bracket on your keyboard in order to reduce or decrease the size of it. Now, what is a square bracket? Square bracket is basically, let me show you here. Square bracket. So this is basically square brackets. It's on your keyboard. On your keyboard, it is like this. Here you have the square brackets, okay, on the keyboard. Here's a clear picture. So you can press left square bracket to make it smaller or right square bracket to make it like bigger. So if I will press left square bracket, it will become smaller. If I will press right square bracket, it will become bigger. So let's make it smaller and okay, I'm done. If some parts is removed, you can go back to plus and add that part too. Now I think I'm done. If I will press OK, so you can see that clearly it had selected. Some part is not selected, like his face over here, which you can fix later on or by going to the lasso tool, zooming in, press shift on your keyboard and add this part to your select. And it will be added. Okay. And then suppose I don't want the background. So what I can do simply is that if I will delete right now, it will delete the family picture. Okay. So if I will take my selection option here, if I press delete, it will delete the family picture. We choose background, which is white. It will delete the family. But if I don't, if I want to delete the background itself, so I have to go first to the select, inverse, then press delete. And if I will press OK, so you can see the background is deleted. So this is how you can do with the focus selection. Now, next is the subject. Now, subject can be selected from here as well and from here as well. I think it's better to select from here rather than selecting from here. Because from selecting from here, you have to first take your marquee tool, then select that part, then go to select, then subject. Okay. So let's move to this image and try here. Now, suppose I want to select this building only. So what I can do, I can select this building. I can go to select subject. And it will give me some warning that this will discard your current selection. Do you want to continue? So I don't have any current selection. So I don't have to worry about it, because usually what happens when you do a subject selection, whatever your other selections are here will be gone. So I don't have any selection here. So I don't have to worry about it. I just have to press OK. As soon as I will press OK, it will select that subject. Okay. Now what it is that it had selected the subject by itself. It has selected the other building, not this one. Even I selected this one. So select from here, from subject, is actually works on the whole image, not on the on your like particular selection. It will not work on your particular selection. It will work on your whole image. So as a whole image, it decided that this is the main building. This is the main subject. So it have selected only these building automatically, not the others. So I will deselect, Control D, or anywhere in the empty area. Now I will go to this option. Here I have here object selection, quick selection, magic wand. So in the object selection, same thing, but now I can choose my specific selection area, like suppose, oops, just like this. And as soon as I will leave my mouse, you can see that this building is only building which is automatically selected. So you can do manually from this tool. But if you want an automatic, you can go to select subject, and it will make sure it will calculate whatever selection is there. It will select it. Other thing that it can do this selection mode is sky. Now, what is the sky? If I will click on sky over here in the background layer, it will try to find the sky and it will only select the sky. So if I will click on the sky, it is calculating, you can see, and now it has selected the sky automatically. Now what I can do is that I can go to my image adjustment. We will learn about the adjustment in our later classes, so don't worry about it. I'm just giving you overview about the sky selection here. I can go to brightness contrast. I can make the sky darker or brighter or whatever I want. Okay, so it will affect only the sky because sky is like selected. Okay, and automatically, if you will see that, if I will do some sort of this thing, notice the edges, they are softer, feathered. So the sky selection always keep the edges little bit softer automatically. So you don't have to worry about the edges in the sky mode. Everything is set up by itself automatically. So I will do cancel here. So that's how all these selection works. The rest of them are basically for masking this one. Others we will go through just now. But before going through, let's go back here and check out the quick selection. Object selection, we all already know that you just have to select any subject here and it will see what is the object in that area and it will select that, just like we did for this building. Now let's see the quick selection. What quick selection will do? Quick selection, actually, when you select it, you also have few things here. You have new selection, you have add selection, you have subtract from selection. So add to selection is by default active in the quick selection. And this is how it works. It works best with the add selection. So you don't have to change anything. By default, it is there. So now, based on the size of my brush of selection, you can change it with the help of square brackets, left square bracket, right square bracket. Okay. And you can start selecting things. Like if I click on the sky, a little part of the sky is selected. But if I will continue, because already it is in the add selection mode, it will add another part to the sky. Add, 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 and it will keep on doing that. Okay, and you can see the whole sky is now. What I can do also is that instead of clicking one time, I can click and drag. Now, as I told you, it works with the size of your brush. So if I will make it smaller, the selection will be smaller. So I can click and drag also. And when I click and drag, you can check, you can see that it is creating a selection. And when it, as much you will move it, it will keep on calculating. So it have selected this part, only this part is left. I can click here, here, and 2-3 times, and here also 2-3 times, and you can see that it has done the selection. Some of the parts are selected which I don't want, but this is how it is. And you can see that this part is also selected, which actually you don't want, but maybe you can turn your brush size more smaller in order to make it more perfect. Let's Control D to deselect it. Now let's select it again, and we have here a few options here, like edge, enhance edge. If I was click this enhance edge and move around, you will notice that the edge is now a little bit better here. Okay, so you can see that it's a little bit better. So this is how the quick selection works. So as by name, you know that it is quick selection. So quickly, if you want to select anything. So it's not perfect for something really critical or important. So it's not ideal for that. It is something that you really quickly want to select. So for that, it is good because it gives you very fast results. Now, next here is the magic wand tool. Now, magic wand tool, if you will go, it works with the color tolerance. You will see there is a tolerance here. Now, the tolerance at this point is 32. What it do is that wherever you click, it will pick that pixel, the color, and matching with that color related to the tolerance, it will select the surrounding pixels. So if I will zoom in, you can see that the image is made out of pixels. You can see that these are pixels, small pixels. So right now, if I will select the sky, now see the tolerance is how much? 32. So if I will click in this part of the sky with my magic wand tool also have add, subtract, and intersection. If I will click on here, you can see that this bigger area is selected, not this area, because the tolerance is not, this 32 amount of tolerance is not allowing it to move more further. Okay, let me Control D and let's change this tolerance to maybe 5. Now if I will turn this to 5 and click on this area here, so you will notice that it is not selecting the wider area. It is only selecting the smaller area, because as less you will use the tolerance, as much lower tolerance you will use, your selection will become more strict. It will only select this color of blue shade, because here it's not a one color of blue. There are different shades of blue. So it will select only this sort of blue area. It will not select this sort of blue area. So maybe I have to press Shift on my keyboard, or here I have to activate this one to add more selection to it. Okay, just like this. So this is one way of doing that, but Control D. Okay, but if I will change this from 5 to much higher value, 32 there it was, but instead of 80, if I will turn it to 80, that means it will now allow me to select much wider area. My selection will become more lenient. So if I will click anywhere here, so you can see it have selected much wider area. Even the buildings it have selected, because building also have some shades of blue. So it have also selected some building area. So that's how it actually works. And the ideal, I think, is 32 by default. So I will turn back it to 32. Now, another thing I have here is the contagious. What it will do is that it affects more on the surrounding. If I will press here without contagious like with contagious, you can see how the selection is. So let me deselect. Now let me do without contagious selected. If I will do that, so you can see that the selection is a little bit rigid. It's not smooth like it was before. So contagious help you to create a smooth selection across the borders here. So basically, this is how your object selection works, your quick selection works, your magic wand tool works. So this is how all these tools actually works in the process of selection. And this is how all these uh, tools inside your selection mode actually work. Now here we have some modify option, grow option, and similar option. Let's see what are. Now let's first see modify. Suppose if I take my marquee tool, rectangular one, just like this, select this part. Now what if I want this to be feathered? But feathering have to be done before, not after. But here I have not done anything with the feather. So what I can do, I can simply go now to the select option, modify. And now if I will go to the feather, and what it will do, it will feather it up. It will give me this option here. I can choose how much feather I want and press OK. So it will do the feather for suppose 10. Okay, and you can see that there is a feathered. I can edit and cut. And if I will do the paste, it will be pasted anywhere else. Okay, and you can see that it is feathered. So if you don't want to feather the main option here, you can do the feather from the modify. I think it's much more ideal to do the feather from the modify, because if you do the feather from here, it will remain same, and maybe you will forget, and next time when you're selecting it with the feather, and without noticing, maybe you will work on it and maybe you will be confused. So it's always better, if you want to do the feather, select whatever you want, then you can go to select, then modify, and do the feather from here. Now other here we have contract, and what the contract will do, it will make your selection smaller. So if I will press contract, so it will ask you how much contraction you want. If I want 25 pixels, I will type 25 pixels. So based on 25 pixels, your selection will become smaller. Now it is smaller. So let me undo that and go back to select, modify, and expand. It is the opposite of contract. If I want to make my selection smaller, by the way, all these tools in the select, modify works with all of them. Whether you're using the object selection or you're using the lasso tool or any tool, it works same with all the others. Suppose I want to expand my selection 25 pixels more, so I will type 25, press OK, and you can see that it has been expanded, became bigger. Let me undo it, select, modify, then I have here smooth. What smooth will do is that, if you will notice, if I will cut this, okay, you will notice that the corners here are sharp. Okay, but what if I don't want the corner to be sharp? I want the corner to be smooth. So I can go to select, modify, smooth. And as soon as I will do it, it will ask me how smooth you want your corners to be. So if I will type here 10, or maybe a little bit more higher, 25, and press OK, or it will apply effect at canvas bounds. You can turn this option to even apply on the more other parts. So you want, but I don't want this, so I will just press OK, and you can see that the corners are now smooth. So if I zoom out, you can see the corners are now smooth. So if I will cut it now, you can see that it will be cut with a smooth corner. Undo. So next is border. Now what is border? Border means, right now if you will notice that it's a complete filled selection. So if I will cut it, okay, so it will cut the whole thing. Or if I will go to a new layer, take my bucket and put a color inside. By the way, we will go through this bucket tool, the filling tool in the later classes, but I'm just showing you. It's basically allow you to put the color in the selection. So if I will click in the selection, it will put the color in this selection. So that means this whole thing is selected. What if I don't want this whole thing to be selected? I want a border, like a picture frame, to be selected. To do that, you can just go to select, modify, choose border. And here I can change the border to maybe 10, press OK. And you will notice that Now if I will go and drop the black color in the selection, it will drop in the border. Okay, it will not drop inside the image itself, it will only drop in the border. Okay, so undo that. Next here, we are done with all these. Next here we have grow and similar. Grow means if I will press grow, it will keep on growing my selection. Basically, it works much more better with the lasso tool or magic wand tool. Okay, basically it works better with the magic wand tool. If I will take the magic wand tool, select any part. Okay, let me reduce the tolerance to 5. Select this part here. Okay, or this part. And then go to select and press grow. You can see that it is growing whatever I have selected. Okay. And let me select this smaller area. Now suppose I have selected this part and I want same sort of color from the other areas too. So what I can do also is that I can go to select and I have this option called similar. What do similar do? Similar will select anything that is same as my selection. So if I will press similar, so it will find the same sort of color and it will select. Now if I'll go to select similar again, it will select more similar, more similarity. So I can keep on doing that and it will keep on selecting more similar part. Or if you want more, you can press grow also. Okay. Now let's control D, deselect everything. Another thing I want here to explain is your transform selection. Okay. Like suppose I have selected it. Now maybe this selection that I've made is smaller. I don't want it to be smaller. I want it to be bigger. So I have to redo it. I have to remake it. But what if you can change? Because I cannot change the size of it. To change the size of it, what you can do is that suppose you have made any selection by using any one of these tools. After that, you can go to the select option here and use the transform selection. Inside this transform selection, it will allow you to change the size of your selection. Like you can make it bigger, okay? Or because it is uniform when you make it bigger or smaller, you can also move it. And if you press shift key and try to make it bigger or smaller, it will only do the size according to the like it will be a non-uniform like size arrangement. But without shift key, you can easily make it bigger or smaller from all the side uniformly. So non-uniformly, you can press shift, and uniformly, you don't have to press. But this is for 2021 version. For the older version, it is opposite. Okay. So I can go anywhere. I can do any size. Okay. And once I'm satisfied, I can just press this button. Okay. And as soon as I will do that, you can see I have a completely new selection. So I hope you have understood everything about the selection in this class. Is there any question? Anyone who have questions so far? Is everything clear about the selection mode? So if you have any question, just let me know. Okay, good. So that's all for today. And let's move back to the Blackboard. I will see you on the Blackboard. So I will end the stream. So hopefully next class we will start with another topic about Photoshop, and we'll learn more about the Photoshop in our next class. So let's move to the Blackboard, and now I'm ending the stream. So bye from YouTube.